welcome back to the study skill. Now, in this chapter, we are going to discuss about intelligence and learning. Let's dive in. Now, by the end of this course, you are going to learn 5 different things here. Number one is we are going to define what does it mean by intelligence. We are going to also look into multiple types of intelligence, and we are going to look into 5 learning dimensions. At the end, we are going to look into 6 conditions for learning and also what we call as a CREAM strategy or CREAM. Now, what does it mean by intelligent? Intelligent can actually be defined as a combination of a cycle of these 3 items. There might be times when you have like a problem. Maybe you need to have a mathematic that you need to solve, assignments that you need to do, and so on. So it could actually occur as, or we call it as a problem. And at the end of the day, in order for you to achieve or to solve it, you have to do a series or a curve of learning until you can solve a problem. Once when you can develop this 3 stage, that means that you have already achieved intelligence itself. Okay, this include all kind of informal and formal learning via any combination of experience, education, and training. And this also include of recognizing about what the problem situation is all about and transforming them into a clearly defined problem. Now, there are 8 different views of intelligence. Number one is intelligence is actually general. It underlying cleverness, which is fixed for life. So there's no specific terms for it, and you call it as a general. And number two, intelligence depends on what that is actually needed and relevant within a culture. Some people think that you have to be born to become intelligent. Actually, it's not 100% true because intelligence can be learned, and also it depends on the different kind of culture. I give you for examples, in the Chinese culture, the children are always been so religiously or in the disciplines of like studying by memorizing. So this is actually a terms of intelligence that are usually connected or related to a culture. Number three, intelligence can be developed as long as you have an interest and as long as you have the skills and you know strategies for you to achieve them. Number four, intelligence is actually based on the life opportunities. Number five, there are different types of intelligence, not only one general one. I can give you an example. I might be very good at communications, but at the same time, I can sing. So these are actually 2 things that you know that you are actually good at, and perhaps maybe you can actually combine them together. Now, number 6, intelligence is a question of how much do you know. The better you are and the intelligent or the more intelligence that you will be. And also number 7, intelligence depends on the study habits and the study skills which can be learned. And number 8, intelligence can be measured. Now, I have a question for you. Do you consider yourself as intelligent? Now, what is actually intelligent? The ability to acquire and also apply knowledge and skills, or the ability for a person to solve a problem. I'm going to quote something that is called from the scientist Albert Einstein. Everybody is genius. That's what he said. But if you judge a fish by the ability to climb the tree, it will live the whole life of believing that that fish is stupid. Actually, it's true because sometimes we are in a community or the group of peoples that they have their own ability of doing or have a talent and they are good at doing things. I might be good at doing some part and I might not be good at doing the other part. For example, I am actually very bad at screwing or anything that is mechanicals or anything that got to do with plumbings and like things that you need to do for livings. So it doesn't mean that I'm actually stupid because I may be good at doing some other stuff. Now, sorry, we are all smarts in our different way. This is actually what we are trying to say. Now, according to Dr. Howard Gardner, this is actually a person that have already invented 8 categories of a multiple intelligence. According to him, all human beings possess all 9 intelligence in various amount. So the multiple intelligence can be nurtured and strengthened, or it can also be ignored, and also it can be weakened. Now, let's go and dive in one by one of like what we are going, what does it mean by the multiple intelligence. But before that, there is a purpose of having, there is a test. Remember, we mentioned just now that intelligence can actually be tested. So let's find out later on. We are going to do in the class where the purpose of a multiple intelligence test. Now, when the student understand the balance of their own multiple intelligence, then they begin to, number one, manage themselves well in terms of learning, and also to value their individual strengths. We are going to discuss about this more in the tutorial when we go into the tutorial later. Okay, now let's go and dive into like a different kinds of intelligence. Number one is bodily kinesthetics. Are you the type of persons that love to play sports, or maybe enjoy physical games, or maybe you are good with your hands and you are so strong with your hands, you love to build up muscles, or maybe or body, and you love to be what we call the terms like adrenaline rush, meaning that you love to have like the high impacts physical activities within yourself. So perhaps maybe if you are the type of persons, the career that would be good for you is actor, sculptor, athlete, coach, sport person, or perhaps maybe a dancer because you are good with your body. Yeah, and the way to improve this intelligence is usually maybe you can take some dance classes. As myself, I love to dance, and I took my dance classes before, and I found myself that I am actually so comfortable in my own feet and my own move and my own things at that time, regardless what other people say, because this is something which I find that I have a good ability in comparison with the others. Or maybe for you, if you love to play sport, I'm not so much of a sport person though. So, but if you do, and make sure that you know how you can actually improve it, do more workout or do more exercise. Now let's jump into the next one, interpersonals. So if you're the type of persons that can easily make friends, you are the socialites. You love and enjoy interactive game where it connects you to other people's, and you're also the type of persons that will always take the opportunity to show that you are a leader, that you show your leadership quality. So perhaps this is your own intelligence, and we call it as interpersonal. Now, this type of persons usually would be good as becoming a teacher, or perhaps politicians. These are the people who talks, psychologists, or maybe an evangelist. The way of how you can actually improve your intelligence through this is through concentrates on people's body language, or perhaps maybe you can play a role-playing games with people. Now, next thing is the person who loves to speak, or verbal linguistic, that's what we call it. Now, you can identify these other peoples with the behavior of they love to tell stories. They also love to write stories. And perhaps they also enjoy to play like word games or becoming an effective speakers. Perhaps maybe they love to do the roast, or maybe they love to give like an impromptu speech, love to do the public speaking. So these are the people perhaps that would be great as an author, journalist, as a lawyer, or as a public speaker. And the way for you to improve this intelligence is perhaps maybe to read a lot more, or maybe practice more onto the public speaking. Be more confident, maybe in front of the camera, or in front of the screens, or maybe having your own podcast shows to literally talk about something. I'm pretty sure that the young generation at your age love to do all this. Or write maybe a poem, or maybe write a story. There might be also a person that love to do the logical mathematics. Yeah, for example, this behavior can be seen by the people who often ask questions. They love and they enjoy numbers. Maybe they are good in maths. Yeah, and they love logic games and they love to organize. Yeah, okay. The current careers that will be good for these people are accountants, computer programmers, maybe engineers, and also scientists. And for them, the way to improve this intelligence is perhaps to predict the ending of a movie, of a stories. Have you ever come across that people go and watch the movie? They always predict like what's going to happen next in the next scenes. Yeah, or probably these are the people who love to spoil with a spoil alert before people go and watch the movie. I'm pretty not sure. But playing game involving patterns and also practice mathematic words problems would be something that suitable for the people with this kind of intelligence. I'm pretty sure that if any of you who have toddlers at homes, that parents will always give them some games that requires them to identify numbers, colors, and so on in order to boost up their intelligence in logicals and mathematicals. Now, they might be the people who are the naturalists. So, the behavior of these people is they love cats and dogs, they love their animals, they love to go hiking, they love outdoor games, and then they are also the effective speakers sometimes. So, the people like this could be conservationists, park ranger, they are the zoologists, and sometimes these are the people who just become gardener because they just love to be in the nature. Now, the way to improve this intelligence is to start a collection of bugs and leaf, perhaps, or maybe to go camping a lot more, or hiking on the weekend, or maybe get a pet, or maybe work in the conservation areas for animals like dogs, rights, or pets, or cats, and so on. Next, we look into the people who have these intrapersonals. So just now we see the interpersonal. Now we look into the intrapersonal. So these behaviors follow hunches and instincts. So perhaps they enjoy individual games and express confidence in themselves. So sometimes the people like this, they are counselors, social workers, or maybe they are some of the religious leader. They love to actually look into themselves and they motivate themselves and they love how to express themselves in such a way, or like in bahasa we call it as muhasabahkan diri. So these are among of the attributes or the traits that come from the peoples with the intrapersonals. Yeah, and the way to improve this intelligence is to start a diary or concentrates on their feelings during the day. Now we are going to go into another one we call it as a visual spatials, yeah, ataupun ruang, yeah. We call it as a visual, meaning that the things what people sees. So these are the people, I believe we call it as a creative people. They love to draw, they draw models, like building and so on, and they enjoy taking photos, they enjoy and build models and is able to visualize things easily. They love to do painting, they love to do illustrations and so on. So these are actually the careers that are good for illustrators, artists, architects, and also the craftsmen. Now, the way to improve this intelligence is, well, draw a lot more, all right? Illustrates the stories or builds a model or some places. Start to have a project. And lastly, we look at the persons that love music, or we call them as musicals. Now, this intelligence make a person can sing or play an instrument, perhaps piano or violins. I'm pretty sure there are some parents who love for their kids to have this sort of intelligence, where in a very early stage of their life, they are exposed into going for some maybe singing lessons or maybe piano or a guitar lessons. And these are the people who enjoy music and rhythmic games and appreciates a classical music. Not everybody appreciates classical music. They can understand opera and so on, but I'm pretty sure that people with a musical intelligence, they find this is really soothing. Now, the careers for them is composer, singer, and music, and probably listen to some of nature's or the rhythms of the natural sounds and practice playing an instrument will be the best attribute for them. Now, let's find out about yours. I will give you a link for you in Europe. So what you can do is you can find out what is actually the intelligence that you have by answering the questions. I will give you the survey, and what you can do is you can find out the answers. And once when you find out the answer, I want you to actually screen capture that and put it in the discussion in Europe so that you can actually share it with other friends of yours. Now let's move on. Okay. Now, next, we are going to look into 5 different dimensions of learning. Number 1, there are sometimes learning can be conscious and the learning can be unconscious. So, learning can be conscious when we are aware that what we are learning. Have you ever came across the situation when your lecturers is actually talking and then you are sort of like in a daydreaming? That means that you are unconscious what's actually going on or what happened. Perhaps maybe in the discussion group, so you will just like go, so this is actually when you are unconscious. But when you are conscious, that means that you are aware of actually what's going on. Now we recognize that we understood on the new materials. Okay. Now the type methods of learning consciously are sometimes you have to do some repetition. You repeat it again and again. Or sometimes it's good if, let's say, you write it out. So these are some of the practice to make sure that you are always in the conscious state. Now, checking that what we have already remembered, meaning that sometimes if I feel like I'm going to zone out, I will just try to remember what was the last conversations that we had earlier where before I cut the zone out. And it always come back to, so that means that we are already backtracked into our system. And sometimes telling someone else that what we know would actually helps. Now, unconscious learning happen when we are aware of a small parts of the information taken it by the senses which the brain process. Okay, we are aware of a small part only in the information taken in by the senses, which the brain process. Unconscious learning may emerge which comes into consciousness as when we feel like we just know something that we did not realize we have already learned. Second thing is the different level of attention. Sometimes the attentions that are given into maybe a lecture or a class or the discussion might be different. Yeah, because the mental states can actually be learned because like we can actually give more attentions to the things that what we've learned. Okay, number three is actually via different sense sequence. Now, each of us have our own preferred way or order of seeing, hearing, speaking, and writing. So studying doesn't mean that it's just going to take a disparity of just like reading. All right. It might be something that sometimes, oh, you read, sometimes you watch, sometimes you listen to something. Maybe sometimes you write it as a practice. Maybe you rest that a little bit and then you repeat back again the process and so on and so forth. Now, in the next chapter, you're going to learn about personalized reading, personalized learning. That means that learning is not just about reading. There are some people who hate to read, but then they love to watch. So this is actually why you see that people learn through YouTubes, or maybe people they love to listen to something. So sometimes that's the reason why people love to go to the podcast and listen to something so that you can actually study from there, perhaps maybe while walking and so on. So there are the different kind of types of the studies what you can do, and you can actually have it in within the sequence. Now, number four is buy details or buy the whole pictures. Some people learn best when they see the overall pictures. Some people, they just like love to gather the information bit by bit that later on build up into a bigger ideas of like what they are actually studying is all about. Now, number five is buy fast tracks or also buy the scenic route. What does it mean by this? Now, some people find the efficient motorway routes, learning exactly what they need, and also the others take like the scenic route. That means that some people they just love to learn fast. All right, but some people they just love to take time and they love to stop here and there first, and then probably they will just enjoy it and maybe have like a lot more of discussions, talk a little bit more, but some people they just like love to go and straight to the point. So this is actually what we call as a fast tracks or by the scenic route. Now, next we are going to look into 6 conditions of learning. They are demonstrations, they are new experience, they are understandings, foundation, processing, and rehearsals. Now, learning can actually be easier when you are physical state of learn, meaning that your mind is actually already there and you are ready to learn. That's why sometimes I'm not really a big fan of the class that start at like 8 o'clock in the morning because I might be ready to teach, but some of my students, they probably will still be asleep, although their physicals looks like they are, like already awake. Now, when you believe that you can learn, when you the information that is actually more organized or explain it in a more well-mannered. And when you actually learn from others, when you learn it from your, what do you call this? Sorry, I'll repeat that back again. When you enjoy what you learn, okay, that's one more of the things lah. All right, you love this lecturer and you love what the lecturer is actually giving you, and you are enjoying it. This is actually where it feels like your learning is actually more easier. And when you use the whole brain, all right. Sometime also I don't have the class. I don't like to have the class after 5 o'clock because half of your brain is here, another half of your brain is already at home thinking about dinner, or perhaps you are going to go and play football or something like that later. So there is a distraction in between, and also what you use. What I call it as a cream strategies, okay, or we use cream strategies. Now, what is actually the cream strategies? Let's find out. Okay, a cream strategist is now what do you call this? Is called as creative, reflective, effective, active, and motivated. So creative is when the confidence to use your individual strategies and style and applying imaginations to your study. So the studies will go effectively when you are creative. Reflective, be able to sit your experience, analyze it, and also evaluate of your own performance and draw a lesson about it. Effective, you can organize your own space, your own time, priority, organize your state of mind, and also resources to maximum the benefits. And active is actually by personally involved and like doing things physically and also mentally, and to help you to make senses of what you have learned. And last but not least is motivated. Now you have to be aware of your own desires outcome and also keep yourself on tracks using short and a long-term goal. Yeah, that is actually what we have. I have lined up for you for this week's on the intelligent and learning. Till we meet again next week's with another chapter. Take care and bye bye.